Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome, and it's been in the making for so long, welcome to the Dark Passageway podcast, brought to you by Gamer for Life, and yay, we're 2 years old. But before I get into all that, I would just like to say, I'm DJ Davie, for the Gamer for Life community, and I'm not alone in this podcast. You probably can see it in the background if you're watching this on YouTube and all that lot. But alongside me, my co-host for this lovely podcast that we've co-created, it's the lovely Tempy Crow.
Yes, indeed. Well, not sure about the lovely part. I can be a bit of a harpy from time to time, I've been told. But yes, I will be the second host of this Dark Passageway podcast. It has been long in the making, however. But we're here, finally, we're here.
We are definitely here. So yes, we're just going to break it down to, it's the first one. We'll explain what's happening. We'll guide you through the Dark Passageway, holding your hand through all the quirky gaming news, the quirky meows.
I might scare you, however. I might scare you from time to time.
Tempy might scare you. I won't. I'm a fluffy cat, really. But yeah, basically, we've come with the idea of the Dark Passageway podcast. We wanted to give you guys a more in-depth look in the gaming world. Hopefully we'll be having guests in the future episodes. We've got loads of people lined up to drop in, have their views on stuff. But basically what we're going to be covering is gaming news of what's been happening since the previous podcast, and both sides of things, whether it be console, PC, handheld. There'll be loads of discussions about it. It won't just be a small bit. We'll talk about our opinions on things. So a lot of discussion, a lot of honest opinions on games developing.
Different point of views as well, not just we will say what has been written in the news from other different gaming articles and gaming sites, but also we'll give our point of views and just have fun while doing it, because this is all about gaming and having fun while doing it.
Definitely, this is why we're doing this for you guys, so you can listen to this on your iPod, on your computer, chill out, enjoy it, and get involved. We're going to be doing regular episodes. We want you to get involved and have your say in what's going on with the Dark Passage podcast. But yeah, we will be covering a lot of the gaming news. We're going to have our own dedicated esports section of the podcast where we talk about League of Legends mainly as well, because we're both big fans of League of Legends, the LCS kind of things, where Tempy will be taking the lead on that really and explaining what's been going off, all the cool news, because it's growing rapidly, all that. So.
It is. But more on that in that segment. This is more about who we are, what we are doing, what this podcast will be about.
Definitely. And we're going to wrap up with loads of cool shout outs and stuff. So strap yourself in, grab yourself a drink, enjoy it, because we're going to be here for the long haul. So yes, we're 2 years old, Tempy. We're 2 years old.
How does it feel to be 2 years old, Davey?
Again, I feel like a toddler. No, it's really cool. Like I said, this podcast will be released, if you're listening to it in the future, this podcast will be released on our birthday, the 1st September 2013. We are 2 years old, and it's been a really cool journey to this point, and with the whole culmination of this podcast, we thought what better than to actually start this podcast on our birthday. I thought, we both thought it would be a really cool idea to do it on the birthday and then recurring as time goes by. So we are 2 years old, and if you haven't noticed, if you've been hiding under a rock, Tempy has joined the Game for Life admin group. She's now officially my minion as such.
Hide me.
And how do you feel this has developed? Because you've seen the community as such. How do you feel the whole Gamer for Life thing's grown from the short time you've seen it and actually been a part of it?
Well, for the month that I've been a part of it, first as just an outside partner, because we have been in the process of talking about this podcast, which we are doing, which is amazing, and just working together with Censored Gaming as casters, especially working together. it has grown really rapidly. Like it made like a hyper jump into where it is now, and I like being a part of it. The community is great, the especially on the fan page. The fans that you have are really, really amazing. Like there are so many in-depth discussions on some posts that all of the admins make. Some may not be as in-depth as the others, but there are still responses. People either like something, they either share something, they dislike and say it in the comments. It's really nice community. I'm really happy to be a part of it.
And we're really happy to have you a part of it as well. Yeah, but yeah, it's a strange feeling. 2 years down the line, we're coming up with loads of cool things like podcasts, and we've got a website literally near enough completed as this podcast has been recorded. It's literally in designing stages of like last tweaks and stuff. So watch out for that, because there'll be a lot more cool stuff that we'll be featuring on there. The podcast will be linked to that as well, so you can listen to it. You'll probably be listening it now. If you listen to it in the future, you're probably listening it now through our own website, so which is pretty cool. So hi, future people, meow indeed, it's so fluffy. But yeah, pre-warning actually, before we get any further into this podcast, we will meow. I'm not telling you now, we will meow, but as all gamers,
It's a thing.
internet,
It's done.
it is, yeah. As all gamers and internet lovers will know, the internet is full of cats, and that's it. So if we start meowing randomly, that's how we're going to be. So pre-warning, this is unedited, it's raw, there's no clippings. We are going from start to the end of this podcast without editing it. So if you hear random noises and stuff like that, that's there because it's there. It's not because we've edited it in. We've not edited it. So swearing, we're going to try and keep it to a minimum. I do apologise if an odd one slips out. Tempy's fault, by the way, if that works.
Wait, what? My fault? Why? No?
No, it can happen. But yeah, just a pre-warning to everybody out there. So yeah, that's just a quick introduction about what's going to be happening. We're going to try and do this as regular as we can. Probably at the start of it all, once a month, get us into the swing of things, get a few people involved, guests, get you guys sending your questions, your shout outs and stuff. We want to hear from you, we want you guys to get involved. So that's about wraps it up for the introductions there, to be honest with you, Tempy, don't you agree?
Yeah, it really has been enough of the introduction. I think they know about me from the Gamer for Life page, as I did make an intro there after your introduction, which was wow, thank you. A hard thing to follow up, but yeah, let's move on to the next bit of this podcast, next agenda, if you will, or next segment.
You know what, right? The thing, before we get into that, just a quick one here. I Tempy does crap the whip a lot on me. So if you hear that a lot, her saying, "Move on, Dave, move on," it's because she's cracking the whip on me. But yes, let's move on to the next thing. Shush, I'm talking.
My whip isn't even out yet. Really, Dave.
Yet. But no, the main thing about this one, this first episode, Gamescom, it's just happened. It's wrapped up. It literally, as we're recording this now, it literally wrapped itself up and the doors shut a couple of days ago as we're recording this. Wow. Probably one of the biggest, it is the biggest convention, isn't it, in Europe? Gaming convention.
It is. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest convention in Europe, followed by, I think, London Comic-Con and Eurogamer.
Yeah, that's...
And even London Expo.
True, very true. So, Gamescom, it's like the pinnacle for Europe for games, and with this year being the big year for the next-gen consoles, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, a lot of attention was given to that convention because of how big it was. So, let's get into some of the news that came out of Gamescom, because all this is going to roll on into the next few months with the release of the new consoles and the new games and so on. And in all fairness, the big question on everyone's lips, Xbox One or PlayStation 4? Or in our mind, Xbox One versus PlayStation 4. Fights! That kind of thing. And after E3 with all the announcements of what happened, and then Gamescom brings in a lot more cool stuff. A lot of people are split whether they want to be Xbox or PlayStation. And now, if nobody knows, Tempy's more of a PC gamer. So, in your opinion, Tempy, this whole split between the Xbox and PlayStation, do you think it's a good thing, or do you think people are overreacting, or your opinions on this?
Dear God.
We started well.
It started well indeed. So, a bit of a background of my gaming days. I have started on Atari and moved to the Nintendo, like the original Nintendo, and then after that, I started playing PlayStation. So I've been, when it comes to consoles, it's either Nintendo or PlayStation for me. The Xbox does not exist for me.
So you'd naturally, if someone said, you've got the money to buy a console, you'd sway for the PlayStation anyway because you're used to it. It's something you've been brought up with anyway.
I am used to the way they operate, and I'm used to the way they have their exclusive games, their games in general. My brother has a PlayStation 3, and he has the PlayStation Plus as well, so I kind of get to see a lot of benefits firsthand from PlayStation. Are there bugs? Yes. Is there downtime for the store, the network, and the PlayStation Plus? There is, but hey, this is a world generated by internet. Things like that will happen. It happens in PC, why not on consoles? But to be neutral and to be a bit more of a well-rounded gamer, I do look at Xbox. Unfortunately, because I live in a country where Xbox isn't that is rare. It's not as often played as PlayStation 4 or in this case PlayStation 3. We are biased, or I am biased more to PlayStation.
Yeah, everyone's got their own opinions. So, but in all fairness, but prep this pre this podcast, me and Tempy have been like, what we're going to do for this first podcast, what we're going to launch. And the big thing that came to our mind was, let's have a big knockout fight of the Xbox versus PlayStation, because I am an Xbox player. I admit that. I've had both consoles. I've grown up with the Sony PlayStation. I've done all sorts of stuff through that. Like you were saying, the Ataris, the Nintendos. I had a Mega Drive, Game Boys, stuff like that. So everyone's got their own opinions and stuff as such. And with me, I am siding more with the Xbox One, because over the last couple of years, I found the Xbox to be more a social hub than I seem more segregated in the PlayStation side of things. Don't get me wrong, PlayStation has a lot of benefits. They do a lot of cool stuff, but in my mind, I've always been more of the Xbox. So I'm really looking forward to actually getting more hands-on with the Xbox, especially Eurogamer coming up in the next few weeks. I'll be there in London with a couple of lads from the Game for Life group, getting hands-on and really getting more decisive. We want what we want to go for. But yeah, so as you can see, Tempy will be more PlayStation 4 orientated. I'll be more Xbox One orientated. So it's going to be a bit fair. It's like not as biased because we're both going to be hosting this, so it's going to be an option for both. But with the Gamescom, a lot more information came out, a lot more cool new releases, new trailers for new games, and some of them I've just been astounded with. I know you have been mentioning a lot more about the Diablo 3 Blizzard stuff that they've been coming out with recently as well, haven't you? The whole...
Yes, I have.
The expansions and stuff. It's breathtaking, isn't it, how a lot of this has come out just in this recent Gamescom, pre-Gamescom time, where all these new IPs, DLCs and stuff have been added in. And like when you were on about the Blizzard stuff in previous posts on the page, it's what they're doing is astounding, isn't it? Because Blizzard's quite major in the whole PC gaming world, really, isn't they? So it's... Can you delve more into the whole what they were trying to come out with? What steps Blizzard are trying to take, or is it just they're sticking with what's strong, like the Diablo 3, and just building on it because of how popular it was, or it is?
Oh, well, originally, and not many people know this, I actually learned that in E3. Blizzard actually started out as trying to be game developers for consoles.
No, I
And
did not know
their
that.
first game was out for consoles. It was similar to Diablo, or no, it was actually a arcade type of a StarCraft thing.
Oh, okay.
So that was their first game. After that, they switched to the PC because PC was a bit more focused on. It was a better way to enter as a game developer.
A
So
decent
from there,
platform.
came out their three major titles, and that is Warcraft,
Yeah.
that is StarCraft, and that is Diablo. Not necessarily in that order, but those are the three major IPs that they own. From there, they got this huge MMO that's been running for almost 9 years, 9 years even, World of Warcraft, based on the Warcraft games. And finally, with the next gen's way of hardware, like what their specifics, their specs in both Xbox and PlayStation 4, especially PlayStation 4, they feel that they can finally get back to their origins with the console gaming
Yeah.
and implement that with Diablo, because Diablo is a perfect game for it.
Yeah. The whole format of Diablo, it's very accessible. Like you said, the perfect game to give to the console, because I've played Diablo 3, and it you can imagine yourself holding the control pad doing the game itself. It has that feel that it can be, compare it to your StarCraft and World of Warcraft. You'd see that being more PC based, because obviously StarCraft with the whole RTS point and click kind of thing. The Diablo, it would be the best suited one anyway to be shifted over to especially this new gen. Like you said, the hardware that they're bringing into this next gen, it means a lot of PC style games, PC games that you probably would have never have imagined to be on your console will finally start appearing. Like obviously Diablo, and I think Binding of Isaac is a PlayStation 4 exclusive one as well, which is pretty cool. And I know that one's quite a popular one on the PC, so that is pretty cool how that worked out. So yeah, Blizzard really stepping up and like expanding away from, like you said, they started in the console, shifted to PC, and now they're an absolute powerhouse on the PC side of things. Obviously, like you said, with World of Warcraft, because 9 years, did you say it was running for? 8, 9 years.
Yep, 9 years,
So,
and I've played 4 or 5 years of it.
So, like I said, still a strong following. They're that cornerstone of PC up there with, like, obviously, your other major developers in the PC side of things, not really going into it all, but they're that cornerstone. And then finally being able to have that kind of strength in the hardware that's going to be provided by the next gen to move into it comfortably as well, bringing a game such as Diablo 3 to the console for people that probably would have never imagined gaming on a PC to actually enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because I'll be honest with you, when I was younger, I never saw a laptop or a PC or whatever to be classed as a games console. No, sorry, you can't really call it a console. Something where you can play games on, if you get what I mean. Other than like your odd little point and click games, but you get your major AAA titles on there. And excuse me, I appeared live on the podcast. But hey, the whole major titles that they bring, like League of Legends, especially. You know what I mean? The whole Dota 2 League of Legends thing, because ain't Dota 2 under Blizzard, or is that a totally different provider? Or don't you know?
I do not know. This actually caught me off guard.
That's cool. I'm a bit, yeah. It was just a question that just came to me just then, because Dota is a form of, well, it came from World of
Oh,
Warcraft, wasn't it?
Dota. Dota is was a mod for Warcraft 3 game,
All right, okay.
and then it developed to Dota 2, but I think that Blizzard approved of it. I'm not sure if it's theirs or Valve's, but I could
Ah,
check. If you want, I can check.
yeah, that's cool. I just when you mentioned then Valve, yeah, I can remember because it was when it released, because Dota 2 literally got released as this podcast we recorded a few weeks ago, and I downloaded it through Steam, and I forgot. Yeah, Valve had a big input with that game, so yeah, I just thought it was just strange with all that. But yeah, like I said, Blizzard with the corner house, really cool. So a lot coming in the future from the whole PC side, moving into your next gen consoles. Like I was saying, the indie style stuff with your Binding of Isaacs, your big titles like Diablo 3. So it'll be interesting to see how it comes, because if you switch over to the Xbox One, an interesting title that's coming to the Xbox One is World of Tanks, another big PC game out there, free to play, um, with a massive following in itself, where you go around blowing other tanks up, obviously, and in a really cool environment. So, in that sense, it's nice to see both consoles opening up and saying, "Look, we'd like to, have you on here, have, you know, Diablo on here, and exclusively getting." Because I think Diablo 3 is an exclusive PlayStation.
It is. It's an
Yeah,
exclusive PlayStation. I'm just looking at over at the every PlayStation 4 game announced so far. So it's 91 games exclusive for, or some of them are probably shared, but most of them are exclusive for PlayStation 4. And PlayStation 4 will have 40 exclusive games made in just the first year.
that is an impressive number, to be honest with you, when you think of how developers, in like this current generation with your 360 and your PlayStation, yeah, they both have their own exclusives. The Xbox had your Halo, big thing, Halo, Gears of War, and stuff like that. But the PlayStation also had like the Uncharted series, the Gran Turismo as well, and you saw these come out. But the way Sony have approached this first year of release of the next gen console with 40 exclusive titles, it's a
Yep,
very
40
strong card.
exclusive, and I think 60 that they will share between themselves, Nintendo, Wii U, and Xbox.
Yeah, like your
So about
standard
100
ones.
games will come out for Sony alone in the first year.
That is an
I
impressive
could be
start.
slightly off, but I think that's what were the general numbers being said on E3.
Yeah, because I know a couple of them have been pushed back, having the under development and all that, but a lot of them
Yeah.
have been, well, they're literally in the final stage of development. A lot of them have gone to the point where they're near enough gold and like, yeah, we're ready. We just need you to release the console so we can get out there. Because I know the launch titles for both consoles, very strong lineups, and like you said, there's a lot that are shared across, because you get like, you obviously get your Call of Duty, for instance, it'll be cross-platform. Battlefield 4 will be, every port will have it, your PC, your consoles, your FIFA, football, and stuff like that. So you'll get them, but it's nice to see both consoles approaching it with a nice sprinkling of, yeah, this is what we're bringing to the table, exclusive to Xbox. This is what we're bringing to the table, exclusive to PlayStation. So, in all fairness, it's going to be one of the most interesting releases of of consoles in the next 12 months, because of how high impact, like you were saying, the sheer amount Sony are turning around saying, we're going to bring you these exclusives, we're going to bring you these games. It's getting the consumers and the gamers more eager, and juices flowing as such to approach it, which is really, really good, really good. So that I'm really looking forward to that. But moving on from that early launch thing.
Just before we move away from this one,
Oh, okay.
I wanted to say, Bungie, who are the creators of Halo, which is the most popular game and exclusive game for Xbox,
True.
have gone and made a game that I think will be on both consoles. Destiny.
Destiny, yes. Sorry, let's
Holy
pinpoint.
God, I love that game. Even now, I haven't played it. I haven't gotten my hands on it. I probably will get my hands on it when it comes out and when I get a PlayStation 4. But holy cow, do I want that game?
Now,
Want to play that game?
I agree. Now the thing is, let's focus this next point on Destiny because, as you were saying, Bungie. If you haven't had the chance to play Halo, right, we being the Xbox,
I have, but on PC only.
Exactly. I know some of them did get ported onto the PC. To everybody who hasn't experienced that, it's such an amazing universe that was created, and the whole story of, in some of the games, the Spartan John 117 Master Chief, his story of going through and fighting off the all the hordes of all the aliens. Why am I forgetting the alien names? I play this regularly. And all these, the Covenant, thank you, the Covenant and the Flood and stuff like that. Really cool stories. And then all the offshoot ones with the Noble team on Halo Reach and stuff. And when they signed Halo, basically the entire Halo franchise, over to 343 Industries, who made Halo 4, the latest Halo title, and then they focused on creating such a dynamic new world from scratch. You know what I mean? They've really gone and brought it forward. And like you were saying, Destiny, they've now signed it up to be, PlayStation and Xbox. This is going to be huge. Really.
It is.
Huge.
It is. Also, one other game that I'm most excited about PlayStation 4 as an exclusive is Final Fantasy 15, because oh my lord, it's going back to the roots. It's very reminiscent of Final Fantasy, I think 7, with the way it looks. It's a bit more darker, it has a bit of a new agey edge, like the Final Fantasy 13, so they have guns and things like that, a bit more modern, but there's still fantasy in it, and it is brilliant. It's very, like, the main character reminds me slightly of Sephiroth, only with shorter hair and a bit darker instead of that whiter, but it's still grayish. And what they've shown in the trailer or gameplay footage that they had, demo, on E3, definitely pointed me in the direction of, they're going slightly back to the more well-versed style type of combat than the Final Fantasy 13 has. So I'm really, really excited about Bungie's Destiny and Final Fantasy 4 from Square Enix.
Yeah. The whole Final Fantasy thing, I totally agree with that, actually. The whole way they've approached this next title, in my personal opinion, I really enjoyed 7. 7 were great. The earlier Final Fantasies were great, but 7 seemed to get my interest heightened. And then, I don't know, especially when you got to like Final Fantasy 10, it seemed a bit more wayward. It stuck to the whole fantasy realm kind of thing, but I don't know, it seemed to try and evolve itself, and as it evolved, it kind of left certain things behind. But like you says, now they seem to have gone back to the 7, the darker side, the combat, the way it were played out in 7, but obviously in a new HD, next-gen feel to it. So it brings the new and the old together to bring out an amazing, world to be in, an amazing game to immerse yourself in. So, yeah, them 2 titles sound pretty cool. And in all fairness, I agree with the Final Fantasy, and what I'm really looking forward to, because I'm a big first person shooter fan. I enjoy shoot 'em ups, I enjoy all that kind of stuff. Battlefield 4, I really cannot believe how impressive that game looks. Watching the Gamescom stuff, the E3 stuff recently, and the demos that they were playing out, and how they've really took a great game that was originally just on the PC, the Battlefield and Battlefield 2 were just original on PC if I remember rightly, and then bringing out Battlefield 3 which just took it to another level, but Battlefield 4 with the whole commander and overview modes and all these different cool things where the world and the map adapts really well, because obviously you can blow buildings up, but like in the E3 demo that I saw him play, an entire skyscraper starts tippling off it. I'm like, oh my god, they've really put time and effort and passion.
They did. I like first person shooters. I haven't. I actually, one of my first games that I played on PC was Doom.
Oh, classic! What a classic, Doom. Oh.
Indeed. So after a while, I just stopped playing them, and then when I was 16, I kind of picked that up again with Unreal Tournament and Quake 3.
Oh, you're bringing out the classics now. I tell you, you're bringing out the right classics. Woo-hoo.
Well, I do have seniority, so I have played classics.
You're really old, aren't you? You can admit it. Sorry, no, we're not going into that. I'm only joking. No.
I think I've said enough when I said the seniority here.
She's waving a walking
stick. If you want
stick.
to ask me questions about how old I am, go to my channel. I think I say it in one of my first vlogs.
Indeed. So yeah, before we carry on any further, yes, just to reiterate, if you're listening to this on the website or through SoundCloud or whatever, we have our own YouTube channels. We've got a website development, and Tempy has got her own YouTube channel where she does her own vlog and mainly covers shoutcasting in a whole on there. So what I'll try and do is on the YouTube side of things, if you see the background, I'll have annotations around it all so you can follow us, check us out and stuff. And obviously on like your SoundCloud and stuff, I will try and put all in the information into the descriptions as well. So feel free to check it out as well after you listen to this podcast. It's awesome. So yeah, the games that we've really looked into. Sorry, you were going to say something. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Battlefield. I do like what they're doing with it and how they're progressing the game. But on the subject of first-person shooters, one title I need to mention: Killzone Shadowfall.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps right now remembering that trailer, like the first few minutes of gameplay itself, because right after the trailer, like right after the opening scenes, you're playing your character. You can destroy buildings. The sunrise or the sunshine bouncing off the skyscraper's glass, and then it's shattering. It's like the particles, the fire looks so real, the smoke as well. I mean, holy god, I cannot wait to get my hands on PlayStation 4, get back into console gaming, because for PlayStation 3, I haven't seen any titles that would have pulled me in. I have a few that my brother got for me. I have been playing them on and off a bit because I do not have the time to dedicate. But with PlayStation 4 coming and all the exclusive and just all the games announced and how the whole next gen feel is, I might go back to a bit more regular console gaming again.
It's an interesting thing you saying that, because like we mentioned earlier, the whole what both companies are bringing up with both consoles with the specs, and it seems to bring a new breath of fresh air, but with similarities from the last generation with, the games, the new concepts and stuff, and like how breathtaking games looking. Because I do agree, Killzone Shadowfall, all my days, like exactly the bit you were looking at, the opening cinematic where you land down off the helicopter, you walk through, you start shooting people, then all of a sudden it just goes from that to gameplay without even noticing. And I'll be honest with you, when I played, I think it was Killzone 2 or Killzone 3, I'm not 100% sure, but when I first started it, I was watching the cinematic and I had my controller on my arm, and I'm like, yeah, he's walking, and all of a sudden everything stops, but there was no transition from cinematic to gameplay, and you actually start moving around and you're thinking, wow, the graphics, and you know what I mean? It's amazing how developers and stuff have been able to not go from a cinematic black screen gameplay. You know what I mean? They've gone to a seamless transition of
And I think
immersing you.
Killzone actually use that the best. Like they are the masters at it.
Yes, I do definitely. I do agree. I've not seen a game yet that can outshine the whole Killzone
When it comes
transition.
to moving from an opening cinematic
Yeah,
to immediate gameplay,
yeah.
they, I think, make the best transition.
They,
Like, you really, unless you're really focused, even then you're gonna miss it because everything stops, as you said. You just need to check your controller.
yeah. Keep your hands firmly on your control pad, ready to kick off. But and I do agree. That game, the Killzone franchise, just for that point, the transitions between cinematic and gameplay, second to none. So hats off to them. That it's just surreal and unreal. But speaking about earlier on when we were on about games we're looking forward to, and I mentioned Battlefield 4, one that I think people are a bit up and down about, but unless you are a big fan of the franchise, E3 showed the whole unveiling of Master Chief again with that big hood over his head and all that lot with the new Halo look and everything. I'm really looking forward to seeing what developments come with the next Halo game and this whole thing with a new live action series that Steven Spielberg's bringing up. So on the Xbox side of things, so much to look forward to just on that one exclusive IP thing. The one, Halo. When you think of Halo, you think of Xbox. I mean, you can't. It's just not one of them things. But
Yeah,
I'm really looking
same
for that.
as when you think when someone says Final Fantasy, you immediately think of PlayStation.
Yeah, true.
It's like one of those titles that just define the whole console.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So, speaking about Final Fantasy, just to clarify, right, the new Final Fantasy, is it just PlayStation exclusive, that one then?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Because I know.
Final Fantasy has a. So, this was the thing with Final Fantasy. It was a Nintendo game on cartridges, like on the original Nintendo.
Yeah.
Or Super Nintendo. It cannot exactly remember. My friend is going to kill me because of that. But I do know that it is originally was on Nintendo. But since the game was growing so rapidly,
Yeah.
it didn't fit on. It would probably take 15, 16 cartridges
Ah,
for the
okay.
game. So Sony, because they are working very closely with Square Enix, decided, well, let's make our own console for Final Fantasy, and we'll use a disc.
Sure.
Hence, PlayStation being born.
That's
So
pretty cool.
PlayStation literally became a console, or was created for the sole purposes of being for players to being able to enjoy Final Fantasy without having 5, 10, 15 cartridges.
So that's interesting because I did not know that. But one thing that really triggered it all for me, I did not know the latest one is going to be a PlayStation exclusive because I know some of them seem to shift off to the Xbox as well because I know I play Final Fantasy X and 10-2 on the Xbox, but I'm guessing not many have gone over to the Xbox versions. They've kept it solely
No, they're
PlayStation.
very, very selective.
Oh, that's interesting. I never knew that actually. That's one thing I've never actually thought. But I just want to I just actually noticed this on the screen as I'm talking to you now. I just want to break up the whole Xbox PlayStation thing for a second and just to announce, for all you PC fans out there, The Sims 4. Just before I throw it out there, The Sims 4. Now, love it or hate it, The Sims are there.
Why, Davey? Why?
Hang on, hang on. I thought I'd get some hate for this, to be honest with you. But no, in all fairness, recently the whole thing with The Sims 4 has been announced, and love it or hate it, I know The Sims are there, and a lot of people enjoy simulation games, and with all the expansions The Sims 3 had, I'm not saying I'm looking forward to it as such, but it's something that will be there in the coming months, Sims 4, because it's got a real big following behind it. A massive following.
I'm one of them.
Oh, okay. official. This is official. I did not know Tempy was a Sims fan. Oh my
I
days!
played Sims 1 when it came out. I own some of the original expansions. I played Sims 2 and some of these expansions. The only problem I have with Sims is it takes too much bloody space on your hard drive
Yeah.
because of all the expansions. And I'm not the person who like gets the game, gets the expansion. No, no, no. I'm the type of Sims player that goes to the fan sites, gets the mods, gets the extra furniture, gets everything else different. So yes, I'll probably, if I ever get my hands on Sims 4, I'll need to get the hands on a probably 2 terabyte hard drive, external, just dedicated for Sims.
That's so. So I wish they were brought it up now. To this way, for the benefit of people listening, I've got all my notes up in front of me for what we're going to be talking about in this podcast, and I don't know why I totally skimmed the top bit, which goes just a big banner that says for The Sims 4, and I thought, yeah, we are focusing a lot about the console side of things, but the whole thing with alright, we touched on Blizzard slightly, but the whole thing with The Sims 4, I know, and I've learned something new today. Tempy is a Sims fan. I know people are interested in that. They were interested in the whole SimCity thing, because there was a massive uproar with SimCity months ago. I won't delve into that one now. But The Sims 4, it's coming, and I can see it, with all their own language. Is it Simlish? Whatever they call their language? Simlish? Where they talk absolute gobbledygook? No, that kind of thing. We're going to be spammed with all that again. And I'm sure, I'm not going to let this down now, I'm sure Tempy will keep bringing this up in future podcasts and vlogs and stuff, saying, oh, The Sims 4 is just round the corner. Tempy, stop now, please. So, yeah, that should be interesting. But, put a stop on that now before Tempy butts in. Yeah, back to the main jump of the whole Gamescom. Like we were saying, the line. Do you think it's going to be console wars after the launch? This is one question I've been thinking about bringing into this podcast, because a lot of people were bitching and moaning about the consoles when they were unveiled, prices and stuff like that. Console wars pre-launch. But do you think
I'm back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's there.
I'm back.
She's there. Unedited. It's there. Did you hear what I was saying?
A bit of technical difficulties. TeamSpeak decided I don't know what, and it kicked me.
Oh, so we were talking about your Tempy while you were away. I was just on a random.
We have?
Rant. Yeah, of course I have. No, the question I was asking, I'm glad you came back at this time. You know the whole thing about Gamescom that we're talking about, the PlayStation, Xbox.
Yeah.
There was a whole big thing about console wars beforehand, how Sony won this on E3 and Xbox makes a fight back at Gamescom kind of thing. Do you think after launch there's still going to be that kind of segregation, that war kind of thing between them both? Obviously there's competition, I mean, there's always competition.
Ever since Xbox came out, like Sony and Xbox have been at each other's throats. It's not like they've literally or intentionally. I think let's go like this. I think it's a healthy competition because it pushes both developers from both Xbox and PlayStation, and the game developers, especially those that are working exclusively for the consoles.
Yeah.
And only have okay, this is only Sony's PlayStation's game. Okay, this is only Xbox game. I think it kind of gets them more motivated, gets them more in depth and more competitive, but they still bring out a brilliant product out.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It doesn't divide the it does divide the player base slightly, but I think the developers and the business owners and the owners just actually have mutual respect because they are in the same gaming zone. They're still in the consoles. Players, however, are being idiots for having random idiotic fights. Respect each other. You're gamers. Either if you're Xbox or PlayStation, doesn't really, or PC or Wii U or Wii, doesn't really matter. We're all gamers. We should respect each other for what we play. I do not agree to most of the to some of the things that Xbox did on E3 and how they retracted it throughout the months leading to Gamescom.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
And I think they literally just dig their own hole and jumped into it and just covered the dirt.
Yeah, I agree with that because, like you're saying, covering up with their own dirt because it was a big 180 they did. They made all them big announcements. People went into uproar, and then they turned it round because they didn't want the fans being upset. You know what I mean? They didn't want to lose face. They didn't want to look bad in front of the competition, which, as people would have seen on E3 especially, as I can...
Sony was full of puns. Let's just put it that. Sony was full of puns of Xbox and what they did. And I was like, oh, Sony... I still have the E3 Sony PlayStation conference, like the whole 3 hours. Yeah. And every so often they would come, oh, we have this, and that, what the other console doesn't have.
Basically, rubbing it in the face.
Indeed. They're just putting nails on the Xbox coffin and hammering them.
Indeed. So, let's skim onto some other topic that I've really, to be honest with gamers and the whole, I don't know, girl gamer brands and stuff like, you get what I mean, there's a lot of, you can say sexism and stuff, but one thing that's come up recently that I do want to bring up in this podcast, just out of the blue, it's all Gamescom relevant, Call of Duty Ghosts. Now all I've got to say is female soldiers, right? Now I'm so happy that my co-presenter is a female, because this is one question that I can have my opinion on it, but also having a female's opinion on it is interesting. So I'll throw this to you now, Tempy.
Okay.
The whole thing of having a female character in the role of, the whole first-person shooter multiplayer aspect, do you think that is a good move? Do you think that brings a lot more depth to things? Because at the end of the day, there's female soldiers out there in the real world. You know what I mean? They're
and I do have respect for the female soldiers around the world. They do put their life on the line. They are doing the same work the male soldiers are doing. So why not pay tribute to that in a game that is centered about war and soldiers?
Exactly. And I'm so glad I've been able to bring it up, because when you think about it in other terms, alright, it's not as... Obviously, Call of Duty is not real life because a lot of it jumps from different ages and stuff, but when you focus on, say, Gears of War, Halo, and probably many other titles, there's a female soldier in there in the front line fighting, so I don't understand why it's took them so long. They've probably made an excuse now. I've not really looked into it as such, but I feel it's a cool concept, a cool thing to bring on, because apparently there's going to be so many customizations to it all, what the look will be and all that, and I just think it's so cool that they're bringing the female aspect in, because I'm sure, because I know a lot of Call of Duty players are female, I'm sure they'd love it to be running around as a female character, knowing that they are present as a female in the game instead of all just running around as a mindless man with a mask on kind of thing. It brings that whole, in
my personal opinion, I have played Call of Duty when it came out. I liked it. It's a fun game. But I think most girls, especially the girls that date gamers, and they are not that into games, I think this will kind of give the guys a chance to say, oh, honey, hi, I am a huge Call of Duty fan, but I would love to try this, and there's this female character that you can create and customize and play with me. She will be more comfortable because she's playing a female character. Girls can play female characters, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But we do tend to gravitate more towards female characters in any game we play, unless there's no choice. It's just because we can kind of get more into the head of it, get more into it that way. For me, since I'm playing League of Legends, I'm playing a lot of male characters, so I don't have a problem with that. But if there is a first-person shooter or MMO or RPG and there's a female character, I'm going to pick her up.
Fair point, fair point. And like I was saying, it's nice to know there's that option there because, like you were saying, how you don't mind what you play as. You know what I mean? Like League of Legends, there's male, female creatures. You know what I mean? It's just one of them things. But it's like I have always tried making a point when I've been playing games. If there's an option to be a female character, sometimes I will be a female. It doesn't matter. A lot of people are like, you know, a lot of people will probably give me stick for that now because it's like they're saying, oh, you know, behind the screen you're a female and all that lot to this. It's like, no, at the end of the day, if you want to create a character that's just, I like Skyrim, for instance. I remember the first time I played Skyrim, I thought, you know what, I'm going to make some warrior princess kind of person, you know what I mean, like Xena, the old TV show, Xena. So I went for that. But some other people probably think it's weird. All the guys who go for the big, burly, yeah, I'm like Thor and all that. But I mess around doing all sorts. Like, for instance, recently, Saints Row 4, right? There's an achievement in there, just out of the blue, where you've got to go from being male to female, female to male, have a sex change, basically. So I did not mind the whole fact of I'm going to be this gunslinging gangster lady. You know what I mean? It never bothered me. But it, especially when you bring it into the whole audience of Call of Duty, I honestly thought maybe when it first went announced, I honestly thought Christ, feminist groups would be kicking off. You know what I mean? Saying random stuff. But, you know, on the other hand, like me and you were talking, there's female soldiers in the world fighting in the front line. You know what I mean? Doing exactly the same job as guys do. So bringing that up really should not be an issue. But I just wanted to know your take on the whole male-female gaming portrayment in games kind of thing, which I'm glad we were able to bring up in that because I thought for a first podcast, bringing up all these really cool, different, quirky things, get the ball rolling. Like, I'll let everyone know now, please feel free to send any feedback on our Facebook page, YouTube, Twitter, all that kind of stuff as well. On any of the
we do want to hear your thoughts about it.
Definitely. And we want to know if you agree or disagree with us. You know what I mean? There's going to be many outlets where this podcast will be out. Get in contact with us, or just through our Facebook page. Just tune on and say, on your podcast, so and so, I disagree. We want to hear it, so we can probably evolve in it in the next episode where we can bring up what you guys were saying back to it, which is really cool. This is why I want to bring this topic up. Right then, just now I've got that one out of the way. Just a quick scan over a couple of things I wanted to probably wrap up this whole
Can I just throw out one more PlayStation game
you
that's
are
coming
seriously
out
defending
that intrigued me
yeah, go
because
for it.
of the awesome opening?
Yeah, go for it.
The Order 1886. Victorian 19th century London.
Oh, that's probably one I missed actually. I meant to be a gaming
werewolves. I'm just gonna say werewolves. The opening scene is they ride a carriage. There's the driver and 4 people are inside the carriage and they hear a howl. Everything is in ski mode. There is fog everywhere, like typical London. Fog everywhere. And then the werewolf jumps on the carriage, comes near it. They drag down the driver, tear his head off. His head rolls over the cobblestones. The guys and a girl, 3 guys and a girl, come out of the carriage and with this awesome steampunk type of weaponry. Holy God. It looked really, really awesome and a bit of different side to it. It's a horror. So really cannot wait. It's from Sony Santa Monica development. It takes a few different influences and makes them work with a single unique setting: 19th century London, steampunky weapons and environment, and werewolves. All come together in a strange mixture of old and new, familiar and supernatural. More information will likely come to light once we see something other than admittedly awesome trailer.
That is something I really want to look at actually now. So after this podcast is recorded, I'll probably watch that video myself. That sounds really cool actually. And to be honest with you, bringing that up, another random question with games, because a lot of these games have been out recently and are in development for next gen. A quick one about it. Your view on the whole zombie genre of games. You know, like your Dead Rising.
Oh, Last of Us.
The last that kind of thing. Now, your opinion. I've heard this go around Facebook all over the place with random pages bringing it up, but I'm going to bring it up now and we can talk a bit more about it, a bit more in depth. Your view. Do you think the rise of the whole zombie game, you know, with like your Call of Duty zombies
apocalypse?
and zombie, yeah, it's kind of like it is a zombie apocalypse, but virtually, because of all like The Last of Us, Dying Light. There's so many different.
Don't forget
zombies.
Resident Evil's there as well. They're the main headers of it.
Exactly. Do you think it's kind of like they've got an orange, they've squeezed it, and it's like literally there's nothing left, or do you think it's still quite a adaptable source to tap into? Because before you answer that, one thing I want to say is aliens, right? Because aliens were a big thing in gaming a few years ago, and still are in many ways. Like you said, your Killzone thing is kind of alien-y, futuristic.
Halo has aliens.
Massive,
Destiny has aliens.
Exactly, but
there's Alien versus Predator. So
exactly, but it seems to have died off a little bit in ways. It seems like aliens have been taken over by zombies, which
no alien zombies. That's the next thing happening. Alien zombies. I'm telling you, you heard it here first.
Yes, you think we're trademarking it, right? If Activision or anyone comes up to us and asks about it, we want rights to alien zombies. You know what I mean?
It's
or
a
zombie
thing.
aliens.
No, but I'm just gonna say this: Last of Us.
Yes.
We've seen so many games before Last of Us that had zombies. I think Last of Us finally gave that horror genre games a bit of fresh air, because it is a survival game. You have to survive. You have amazing cutscenes. I haven't played the game, unfortunately. I am looking into getting it and playing it. But from what I've seen, from what I've read and heard, it's an amazing game. Like, the level of difficulty does get a bit harder. But I love that about games. There's nothing more rewarding for me as a gamer than having to literally go blood, sweat, and tears to get to that end game, to finish the game, to get all the achievements, and be like, yes, I've did it, I feel accomplished, instead of just being given easy access to everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that to get back to your main question is, I think that zombie games have potential, depending on the developer and the player base that it's going to, or what console or PC it gets to.
Yeah.
I think zombie games can still offer something. I'm just gonna say Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah, nicely put there. Nicely put, because, like you were saying, Resident Evil really made up the whole zombie horror thing. You know, back in day where there weren't many zombie games out there. You know what I mean?
There's also Silent Hill, who has a type of monstrous zombies. It's not zombies per se, but neither are the Resident Evil.
True. That is
So
very true.
it's like, from those two games, everything else kind of fell in place, and we can see the zombies like there are in Last of Us. Also, what is the game called after this TV show, after a comic?
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, thank you.
Yeah.
I know where it comes from, but for the love of me, couldn't remember the name of it.
Oh, it's fine. So yeah, I just thought I'd touch on that because it's been a big thing recently. Because especially with like the Dead Rising 3, the big open world kind of zombie OTT kind of thing, and I just thought, are developers kind of milking it as such? Because some zombie games sell really well. Like obviously the Resident Evil franchise had a couple of flop titles in my mind, but the earlier titles were great. The Walking Dead, the little arcade one, the one by Telltale Games, sell phenomenally You know what I mean? And all you did was literally point and click and do a little bits and bobs, sold phenomenally. I just thought, is it getting to the point now where maybe another kind of genre kind of oversees it a bit? Like maybe the alien race comes back in a bit more. Like obviously with Destiny coming, this could be like a start for more quirky, alien-y biological forms coming in. You know what I mean?
Only
So,
time will tell, to be honest. Like
true.
when it comes to gaming communities and player base, it all literally comes down to what they feel, what they feel is their flavor of the month
Flavour of the month?
in
Indeed.
games.
Indeed. Definitely. So let me just quickly scan over here because we don't want to delve too much. So one last thing I want to do to wrap up this section, right, is back to the whole PlayStation Xbox thing, the main revolving round it. The actual consoles and, let's say, accessories, add-ons, and so on. You know, like how recently I've heard that they're going to be bringing out possibly a Sony PS Vita, you know, the handheld version, with a PlayStation 4 bundle.
Yeah, it will be PS Vita and PlayStation 4, a bit of a higher price, but it's worth it because with PlayStation 4's new features that allow you to put games on their other releases, other technology like PS Vita, Sony smartphone, and Sony tablet, I think it's a smart way to go about it. Even if I have to pay 100 or like up to 100 or $200, to be honest, I really do not know the pricing and what will be, but I think it's 100 up from the just getting PlayStation 4 to get PlayStation 4 and a Vita. Sure, why not? My brother had PSP, PlayStation Portable, so why not get PlayStation Vita, Vita, and be able to play some of those games on it, because you can easily move them there.
Definitely, because like you were saying about the features, the Vita, well, it was been under development for a while. The whole remote play where, you get the games now where you might get a dual copy. You'll get your disc copy and then your Vita copy. But then there's this cool feature that apparently with this next gen it will work smoothly, where you don't have to be sat in front of your console. You could have, say, Killzone Shadowfall in your console, but you've got your Vita and you're out in the back garden enjoying some sunshine, right? You turn on your PS Vita, click remote play, you can play Killzone Shadowfall from your Vita, which I can see why they're doing this whole bundle thing, and they've also lowered the price down of the Vita as well because they want to try and get more people buying it. I've personally got a Vita, don't get me wrong, I don't play on it as often as I'd like to, but it's a cool concept, it's got great ideas, and it's a decent platform because it's still a baby. I mean, it's still new, it's still developing.
It's still a baby, it's still in development, but I think same as PlayStation Portable, the pricing for games are a bit too steep. Like
totally
the
agree.
pricing for games for PlayStation 4 are for PlayStation 3 are fine.
Yeah.
You know, you are like that, but for PlayStation Portable and Vita, they're a bit steep. So if they can sell enough PlayStation Vitas with PlayStation 4, or even before PlayStation 4 comes out, because of the lower pricing that they are doing, it's a smart marketing move.
Definitely.
And have the player base still buy the game and play it on both PlayStation 4 and PS Vita, it's a win-win for them.
A definite win-win, because it, like, kind of what I'm going to lead on to now, it kind of like offers it out there saying, look, we're providing you this bundle, use it. You know what I mean? You've got the Vita there, you're not just going to go, oh, I didn't want it. You're going to get into it and try and do different things with it. Like, I'm going to jump over to the Xbox side of things now. A massive uproar when this was first announced, actually. The whole, you know what I'm about, the motion sensor, the Kinect.
The Kinect, it had to be plugged on and turned on.
Yeah, and all this stuff where people were worried, oh, I don't want to buy Kinect, and with the price difference in the bundles, you know, when you want about the prices with the core PlayStation 4 and core Xbox One, there's like £100 or $100 difference due to the fact that you've got a Kinect sensor there with it. Now, in that sense, I don't think that's a bad thing having that. You're obviously going to have to pay more because a Kinect sensor, when it first came out for the 360, was about £100 anyway, £100+ anyway, to buy on its own. But I know a lot of people are kicking off about it, but like going back to the PlayStation bundles and stuff, they're trying to envelop the gamers more than just being sat there with a controller and the telly. If you've got like the Wii U, for instance, that big controller got with that little screen in it, it's so cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why not have
It
all
is,
more
it
bits?
is because they took the design of PlayStation Portable and kind of made it a bit different. At least it looks that to me.
No, I agree.
Plus, as I said, I'm a huge fan of Nintendo because it was my first official console and I had so much fun. And I had it for the longest time. So, like, Xbox and PlayStation may have their console wars, but Nintendo's out of it. Because everybody loves Nintendo to some degree. They may not play it as often, but at the end of the day, we all more or less started on Nintendo.
True.
And Nintendo has, because it isn't like a single player console. It's like, oh, let's bring our whole family and have fun. It's more it's more connecting people.
Yeah.
Just bringing them together, making them more interactive with each other while playing games, making fun, having fun, laughing, making a fool of yourselves with your family and friends. I think that Nintendo is definitely doing well with what they have. They have their own store with old games. You can still play Super Mario on the Nintendo Wii or Wii U, depending on what you have. Their pricing is reasonable, so even if it's a low budget family, they can still afford a Nintendo if they have kids that want to play, and their game pricing isn't that high as well.
That is pretty true because, like you were saying about families and stuff, when you think about it, like me and you, for instance, when our first gaming memories is obviously your Nintendos, your Sega Mega Drives. Alright, Sega Grant brought out a console for donkeys, so we'll roll that one out. But like you said, the whole Nintendo thing's there, and yeah, alright, that you wouldn't put them in the same league as Xbox and PlayStation because, like I said, everybody in the heart, especially like say us now, say if I had a kid, right, and I wanted to bring them up and they were really interested. Oh, Daddy, you're playing video games. I'd love them to experience the whole fun of that side-scrolling rage fest that is Mario. You know what I mean? If you jump and you just miss it, and but it's just the nostalgia of it all, and you know the Wii and the Wii U with like sort of the story and everything brings all that in, which kind of puts it in the league of their own. Which I feel they are in the league of their own anyway because, like it says, it's more family oriented. It's more let's bring a group of people together and enjoy bowling and stuff like that. Bring them together. Where the other two consoles, they've got them aspects with like your SingStar, your Guitar Heroes, your stuff like that. But they're more focused on the hardcore kind of gamers that really want to delve into it. Even though the Wii brings out all these AAA titles as well, to bring that to the consumers and stuff. But you know, I mean, that's why I think they're in a league of their own. But with like going back to the main thing, what we were just on about the whole bundles and the accessories they bring, which all of them do. Like the Wii U, PlayStation, and Xbox with all Kinect sensors, the bundle with the Vita and all that lot. A lot of people are moaning. You know, when it first came up with the Kinect, they were moaning about it. But in a way, it's all tactics for retail because, in all fairness, when they both come out, the whole bundles with the Vita, I bet you in a day are going to be the same price as the Xbox with the Kinect. It's going to be balanced out still in many ways. Alright, the PlayStation, a core model, is cheaper, but in all ways, as it launches,
I think at the end of the day, it will fall down. It will fall down to this question: how often will I move? How often do I go out of the house and away from my PlayStation, be able to justifiably buy the bundle with the PS Vita?
True.
And how often will I use the feature of moving my game from my PlayStation 4 to my PS Vita to go out and play?
Very true. Very true.
Have it portable. I think those are the main questions. When it comes to Xbox Connect and it having it to be like the officially, when they came out on E3 and said it had to be turned on 24 hours with mic and video.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah, well, if they want a show, I'll give them a show. But that's the type of person I am. I'll probably see the lighter side of it and make fun of it and just be myself. Yeah. Other way of doing it is just put a towel over it or turn it towards your wall.
There's ways
if you're
around
that
it.
Camera shy.
Yeah, there's ways around it. There's, people are worried about, oh, it's a conspiracy, Big Brother's watching us and stuff, but at the end of the day, there's ways around stuff, and people, you need to calm down. Seriously, if you listen to this now and got all these queries and worries about how the next gen are going to spy on you and know what you're going to... Because how Sony went, oh, we're going to see what you bought last and we're going to give you games to play first, adapting to what you bought. Oh, how do they know these things? They're not... you need to chill. Seriously, people need to calm down and just enjoy it for the game and enjoy it for the whole fact that you enjoy what you're doing and you want to lose yourself in a world where, like we've just been talking about for the last hour, Final Fantasy, the whole fantasy realm, Destiny, an absolutely mind-bogglingly massive universe. It's what the game brings out of you into a game. So, to tie all this little gaming news section off, what have we learned, people?
Kingdom Hearts!
Oh god, you want to...
Kingdom Hearts!
Well, you know
finally,
what?
There's a third one coming after so long, and my brother cannot wait for it. Just saying. Neither can I, but just saying. It had to be put out there.
Just to wrap a couple of things up. Yes, Kingdom Hearts, I know there's a big following for that. And just to wrap it up here, if we've missed anything, because I know there's so much out there that we could have touched on. Assassin's Creed stories, there's so much.
So many titles, but to be honest, if you have watched Gamescom or E3 or just a huge follower of games and are going to your regular gaming news sites or getting your newsletters, you already know what exclusive games are coming for PlayStation, what exclusive games are coming for Xbox, Nintendo, and what games are they sharing. And you probably know a bit of that more than we do if we have forgotten something. These are just the key games that make us happy and bouncy and squeal like little fangirls, which I am.
Exactly. So, yeah, before we move on to our next section, I just want to say, like, obviously we have missed stuff. If you want us to talk about other things in the next podcast, if you want us to aim, say for instance, Assassin's Creed, talk more about Assassin's Creed, we'll bring it up. You know what I mean? We're bringing out the important things that we feel. Like, for instance, the whole female character in Call of Duty. I thought it needed to be brought up, but for future episodes, we want your opinions on stuff. We'll bring our own news in there, but if you want to say, look, I would like to know more information about so-and-so, or can you talk about this game? We will do that. This is what the podcast is about. We want to bring you
just leave
info.
it in the comments below, or hit us on Facebook, either private messages or leave a huge shouting comment there. Twitter as well, because we do have Twitter, and like us, just go there, ask questions.
Exactly. So, now that's all covered, the next thing we really wanted to touch on with these podcasts, because the whole thing with gaming, as gaming has evolved, you've gone from gaming and alright, there's like your cosplay and stuff like that, but one thing that's really took the world by storm and gamers by storm is the whole world of esports. Now,
indeed,
in these podcasts, we're going to bring you obviously the news, but we're going to bring you a dedicated section according to the main esports. Now, I'll be honest with you straight away, a lot of this stuff is because MOBAs, League of Legends mainly, is probably is the most watched esports, probably other than StarCraft, in the world.
I think it took over StarCraft a year ago. I think that StarCraft till about a year ago, like last year, StarCraft was still the best, and then League of Legends came out and did this World Championship Season 2, and it had so much viewers, and it was brilliantly made. They did have some technical difficulties, but it was their first high production tournament They had season 1 world championship as well, but it was done in DreamHack Summer. No, DreamHack Winter. Sorry, DreamHack Winter. And from then on, they just kept growing and growing. But I did jump into your words, so please continue.
Yes, she's eager. She's like pent up. Like, let me at him, let me at him. Because I'll be honest with you, with this whole esports thing, I'm really new to it all. Tempy has, especially in the whole League of Legends side of things, has more experience, more knowledge, and as you might have seen in videos, and if you follow us on Sensor Gaming, she's took me under her wing, and we're like now working together like we are now. We're bubbling and bouncing because we're such a good team, and with it growing so much, the esports side of things, we thought, because there's a lot of esports fans out there, we thought we'd bring you some of the big news. And in future podcasts, yes, it will be mainly about League of Legends. It may mainly, I might add a few bits in like Call of Duty World Championships, because I do enjoy watching the MLG as well, EGL, a big thing, because Sensor Gaming are sponsored with EGL, which partnershiped up, so it's growing massively. So this is where times shift and things change, and Tempy is going to lead on with this, and I will give the input in. And keeping the theme about Gamescom, we're going to bring you the whole, was it the regionals, the LCS regional finals?
It was quite a lot of things happening in the Gamescom when it comes to esports and League of Legends. First off, we started with International Wildcard Tournament. So that was the 5 teams from regions without Premier Leagues. Winner gets a seed at the Season 3 World Championship. It was round robin format. The top 4 teams advanced to semifinals. Semifinals and finals were best of 3. For that, there was the Gaming Gear EU, Pain Gaming, Team Immunity, Dark Passage, and Lion Gaming. So it's Brazil, Oceania, oh dear God, my English is failing me, do apologize for that. And some other gaming
nations
areas.
Before you go into that, you know when you were on about the whole Oceania kind of area, isn't that the area where, because I know Australia's just had their League of Legends servers up, is this where they've come in to get a chance to play in the big leagues? You know what I mean? Is it like a regional?
I think for now it will be, unless they either get something similar done as the IGN and OGN.
Okay, yeah.
So I think this will be their like entrance into esports for now. But yeah, the regions for the International Wildcard Tournament were Brazil, as I said, Commonwealth of Independent States, Latin America, Turkey, and Oceania. So it's a really nice mixture, and it really was nice of Riot to have that International Wildcard Tournament just to get that team in. The first prize went to the Season 3 Championship seed, went to Gaming Gear, and they are from the Commonwealth of Independent States. So they were from there. Second place went to Pain Gaming, which is from Brazil. So I didn't watch it because I got a new job and it's 9 to 5, and ever since I got it, the All American Reject song, Gives You Hell, is stuck in my head from obvious reasons. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to watch these games because every time I get home at 6 or 5 UK time, the games have ended or just about ended. So I didn't see. Next type of games, the next tournament happening in Gamescom this week was the Season 4 Spring Promotion Qualifier. So that is 4 teams from 5v5 ranked online qualifiers. So that's challenger rank in the League of Legends speak from League of Legends. Single elimination matches are best of 3. All matches were best of 3, and winner gets a seed for the Season 4 LCS Spring Promotion Tournament. So this doesn't mean that they are already in the season 4 LCS. This means that they have qualified to enter the promotion. So once they pass the promotion, which will be when the season 3 ends, in probably will be happening in pre-season 4, before season 4 starts. So they will get the chance to fight for the spring split of season 4, the first half.
Quick question, just because, just to show, well, if you're not into esports and the LCS, because if we're going to be mentioning about the LCS more to people, a quick breakdown of how it works, really, how many teams, if any, get relegated and then new teams come up, you know, the format, how does the LCS work? Yeah.
So the LCS is League's Championship Series, League of Legends Championship Series. It has started in season 3. It has 8 teams, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm thinking
in it.
myself.
Yeah. 8 teams. It is. It's 8 teams in the season. The season is split into 2 parts: spring and summer. So first half and second half, and they battle it out every weekend actually. So it's Thursday, Friday for the Americans, for the NA servers, and Saturday, Sunday for the European servers. They fight in a single elimination, so it's one game. They have either 3 matches in the weekend. One team has 3 matches in the weekend. Some have 2 matches within, but it's all moving towards the end of it. The season has 10 weeks, and the 10th week is the playoffs. So 9 weeks of normal season, and then the playoffs. In this case, in season 3, Fnatic won both halves of the season. They were season 1 world champions. They didn't do great in season 2, but in season 3 they have bounced back and showed why they were season 1 champions. They were first in the first half of the season 3, kept keeping that place and winning the playoffs, and they were third, I think, or second or third in the second half of the season. But in the playoffs, they got back to their first place and took the money, the huge money prize that it was, $50,000. And yeah, in playoffs, when it comes to season playoffs, be it first half or the second half, the money is involved.
It's huge. That's 10,000 a player, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. And this is all. This is all this about the esports. People, just breaking up from what Tempy was saying, people play these games in such a competitive level. Tempy will agree with me here with the whole LCS. Like, did they go to Benidorm or they went to some Spain city, didn't they, on the coast? And it was such a massive vibe there. People pack out these arenas.
They went to Tenerife.
That's it, Tenerife.
In the second half of the game.
Yeah.
Second half of the game, so they went to Tenerife and they went to Moscow, and wow, it was so huge. And they were, for I think her first half of the season 3, the playoffs were in somewhere in Lille, France. So it was such a huge gathering, such a huge crowd. Like, the gaming community of League of Legends sometimes can be a bit vicious, but the fans make up for it.
Definitely. It's a whole thing with, in any game, in any sense, you will always get haters, you will always get people that, you know, with anything, people see professionals in gaming. It's like how recently people were classed, esports players for any form of game were actually classed as athletes. Now, in all fairness, people might say, well, all they do is sit behind a computer, but it's at such a competitive level. People spend hours upon hours upon hours practicing these games, practicing, you know, the strategies, the tactics, the communications, and in all fairness, to give us a brilliant show like, especially the LCS, when you watch it, and how amazing, like Tempy was on about Fnatic recently, how these players are like the best in Europe. You know what I mean? The LCS is basically the Premier League, like the English Premier League, the Premier League of Europe, of League of Legends. It shows that, yeah, you can have fun, but you can actually make a name for yourself in the franchise.
It's getting huge.
Oh, you're not joking, it's getting huge. But like we were saying about the... before we went live, actually, for this podcast, me and Tempy were having a joke about Fnatic, weren't we? It was Xpeke, the mid laner for Fnatic.
Yeah, Xpeke for Fnatic. Oh dear God, such a good player.
And the way me and Tempy were talking about it, we were kind of like, you know, fanboy and fangirling over him because of how, like say for instance, go back to soccer, you get your Wayne Rooney's, you get your Messi's and stuff, how skilled they are with the ball, how they know the pitch and they know where to go and positions and stuff. Xpeke for Fnatic is that pinnacle. When you think about the pinnacle, he's classed as the best mid laner in Europe. Is it Europe or the world is classed as the best mid laner in Europe? And I watched Fnatic play Evil Geniuses. I'll mention no names. Snoopy. And it goes to show how talented these players actually are. Where if you're not a fan of League of Legends, you haven't watched it, the positioning of the players in the arena, in the map, and the tactics, the timing where they drop their abilities that are on timed cooldowns and stuff like that. Just the whole positioning of the characters, because there's 100 strong roster of champions in League of Legends, and after the picks and bans and selections, you might not get the one you really like, but it shows how adapting these characters are. And just for instance, this guy Xpeke, the talent and the skill, when me and Tempy watch this guy at work, especially at his best, where he could be on, he's nearly dead, his character's nearly died, and he dances round him and gets a triple kill out of nowhere. That takes time, practice, perfection. And when people turn around saying, oh, you know, giving all these guys money for doing this, well, in all fairness, yeah, people will hate and people will be like, yeah, this, that, but good on him. You know what I mean? He's took all the time, that effort to be as talented as he is, and then he's won a share of $50,000 or euros, whatever. That's 10k just for playing a video game. You know what I mean? Which is so
on top
cool.
of them being paid on a monthly basis from Riot for doing what they love.
Exactly.
This is their full-time job.
Yeah, that's all they do. They live, breathe, speak. League of Legends, it's what they do and they enjoy it. They work hard as well. Some of these guys, we'll break this down in future podcasts as well, but some of these guys have formed teams, broke off from teams, merged with another team to become these better teams. Like, for instance, let's break into it. Lemon Dogs, for instance, season 3, you could class them as they came in as underdogs, didn't they? They came in as like
they were a new amateur team that got into the season 3 second half. They kicked out, I think, Dragonborn or some other team. But
they are such in that small time where, you know, like we're saying, there's so many weeks where you work through. These guys have gone from being this team, because when I was watching the Gamescom LCS, and they were talking about how they've merged the team together and they picked a player up from nowhere because they got rid of somebody else and stuff. It's amazing how these players have gelled really well, and it shows the dedication and the time and the practice these guys are putting to come out of nowhere to get into such a high position. And because it was them two in the final, Fnatic and Lemon Dogs in the final, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so they
best
worked
of
hard.
5 Fnatic. Oh dear God, I'm getting goosebumps all over it. It's just
But before you go all goosebumpy, I'll wrap it up so you can get into it. It just shows how the dedication and this amateur team that came from nowhere just working hard, and then becoming such a pinnacle team. Someone that people always remember. When people say what happened in season 3, what do you remember in season 3? Lemon Dogs. Seriously, when people say season 3, Dave, what do you remember? Lemon Dogs and XPK. They're probably the two main things.
Fanatic.
And Tempest crush on Snoopy. But
oh, he's from Evil Geniuses.
Well, XPK from Fanatic, but there you go. The crush on Snoopy, but there you go. But I'll leave back onto Tempy because she can break down the rest of it for you. But just to put that point forward, it's a job for these guys and they enjoy it. So hats off to them. That's why we're covering all this stuff. So carry on through the Gamescom.
So yes, as I was stopped at season 4 spring promotion qualifier, Copenhagen Wolves, who were the team that was Ninjas in Pajamas, were Copenhagen Wolves, but they switched gaming communities, and they are now Ninjas in Pajamas. So Copenhagen Wolves got a new team, and they won the first place for the spring promotion qualifier. So when the season 4 starts, or in pre-season 4, when the qualifiers for the spring, for the season 4 spring split happens, Copenhagen Wolves will be fighting there. And they won a $15,000 prize for the first place. And yeah, money was involved in all three. Apart from the wild card tournament, season 4 spring promotion qualifiers had a money prize pool, and European LCS summer playoffs. So the playoffs, I'm kicking myself because I missed everything. I have only seen
I watched more than you.
Indeed, but I still have more knowledge about it than you.
Meow.
That's your excuse, meow. Okay.
Yeah. Carry on.
So I have seen the end of Saturday, where Fnatic was fighting, I think, Evil Geniuses, and they won. Yeah, I seen the end of that. I literally seen the last 10 minutes of that.
The game that I saw, wasn't it? The 2-0 defeat there. Breaking down into that game as well, I thought, just a quick one there, I thought it was a really good game, and this is when I kind of got overwhelmed by the whole fact of this XPK, the mid laner for Fnatic, and I was just laughing my socks off that Snoopy was getting shut down every 2 minutes and not getting anywhere. So sorry, I'll leave you to it now. Carry on.
If you said he was killing Froggen, I wouldn't have mind. Snoopy. Oh dear me. So yeah, Sunday I woke up at 8:30 my time, which was 7:30 UK time, so I can have half an hour before the before the third place finals start, which was between Gambit Gaming, previously known in season 2 as Moscow 5, and Evil Geniuses. It was best of 3. Gambit won, and they won nicely. Like, Evil Geniuses have kept their own. It was all 3 games, not mistaken. Gambit won the first one, they lost the second one, and then they won the third one barely.
Ooh, that sounds quite interesting.
It was the longest game of the playoffs. I think it got into 55 or 60 minutes.
Okay, that is quite
before
long.
Gambit finally won.
That is quite long, actually, compared to some of the LCS games I've watched where they've only gone for like 20 odd minutes and
or 30. Yeah. It was brilliant. Guys from Gambit, especially their captain Alex Ich, who is also a mid lane player, and he was in season 2. He was one of my favorites. Expected was still my top, but Alex was near because he was so innovative with builds and different champions. I started playing Evelyn because of him in middle, and I used his build because it's such a good build and such smart build. I tried Rise again because of Alex, because his build was again interesting and very spot on and smart, and I was like, I haven't tried playing Rise that way. Turned out, wow, Rise was one of my favorite champions for a long time in season 2. So I have a huge respect for Gambit, but because of the season 3 meta change in how the game has progressed and moved, they lost their edge, which is early game chaos.
They speaking about Gambit, one thing that I realised, and like you want about how players give that effect to, you know, other players to try new builds and try new things. One thing that I did realise, because I did actually see a bit of Gambit play, Gambit's jungler, is it Diamond?
Yes, Diamond.
Oh, Aatrox's jungle. I'm like,
Yep.
really? I'm like, what? I looked and I thought, this guy, but apparently he's classed as one of the best junglers. You know what I
In
mean?
week 9 of the LCS, Diamond brought out Karma jungle.
Ooh.
And Karma is a known support and mid laner.
Ooh. So he's mixing it up then, really, which I
He
found
is,
was
he is.
very innovative.
He's the type of jungler that my friend Lona, this is a shout out to my team, Westria's Finest Ponies or Ravenworld's Chosen, as you wish to call yourselves. But yeah, this is a shout out to my team and my group of friends that I play D&D, and especially our jungler Lona Nuniel. Or do not try to attempt to say that, it's a tongue twister. But just leave it at Lona.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, like I was saying, it's just amazing. Going back to previously when we were about the money and you know how high impact these esports stars are, it shows, like how Tempy was saying, how watching the LCS and seeing how the professionals may stick to their usual characters, but then, like we were just talking about Diamond, Aatrox, you wouldn't class as a jungler, but he brought it there, and it was like, wow, and it just shows how innovative the game can be. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, oh, so and so is a set mid laner. Yeah, but what if I want to play him as top lane? You know what I mean? Try different things out, which shows, like I said, innovation and the interesting. Like I said, I enjoyed watching all this unfold for the whole. I think the razzmatazz of it being new and fresh. So, back to you anyway about the rest of it.
At the end of the day, Riot and League of Legends in general just want to give players the opportunity to say, yeah, this champion is designed to be mid, but I can play it either in jungle or on top or as a support, Elise, for example.
Yeah, definitely.
Is the best example. Or Teemo. He can be played everywhere. He can be
yeah.
a carry, he can be a support, he can be mid, he can be top, and he can be jungle.
Yeah.
And when he's in jungle, he's called Teemo the Deadly.
You're not wrong there. Oh, good old Teemo. The one-man show.
By the way, I wore my hat today.
Teemo hat? At work? Oh, I bet that was an interesting conversation starter.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, what is this hat? I was like, the badger. Let's just leave it at that.
It's a fluffy badger that spits darts at people and causes absolute chaos when he gets going. Indeed.
So, yeah, these third place finals were definitely amazing to watch. Evil Geniuses were crushed and disappointed, and some of the players had to take a 10-15 minute break before going out of the arena to take pictures and sign stuff for the fans. So, but Snoopy and Crepo, the jungler Snoopy and the support Crepo, did come out in an interview in between the Fnatic and Lemon Dogs game, saying that they are still going to stay as a team. They're going to work hard for the season 4 and to get to season 4 world championship. So I think they have potential. I think that season 3, same as Gambit Gaming, didn't sit well with them because they had to change their type of play style drastically. But by the end of it, I think they definitely found a good balance in between their old play style and the new meta of the game, which is a bit more aggressive, a bit more faster paced.
Yeah.
So I'm really cannot wait to see what this break does to the guys. I know they'll probably take a break from each other, go home, visit the family, stay with the family before going back to their gaming house in Cologne, Germany, and going to straight boot camp and practicing as a team and just definitely working more and more to show off or to show that in season 4 they're still, even though they're a old team and a well-known team in League of Legends competitive scene esports, they still can handle. They were second in OGN in Korea. They lost to Azubu Frost in season 2 while there was still Azubu Frost and not actually no, it's Azubu Frost now. It was something else later. Or to be honest, I haven't followed the Asians as I should have. Lack of time.
It's, to be honest with you, just breaking it down as well, it's amazing to see how Riot has made a game that is so massive with the whole, these LCS, the competitions and stuff that it covers America, Europe, the Koreans, Chinese and stuff, because it just shows how much one game, and this game is free, this game you can get on the PC for free, this game has touched many gamers out there, and it's still, the fan base and the player base is growing daily for this, and it goes to show how competitive it goes, where I'll break it down, but there was an all-star weekend where the best teams, best players from all over the world battled out with each other, the Koreans, the Chinese, the Americans and the Europeans, and it was just so amazing with the one-on-one games and the usual 5v5. It was just such a showcase of talent from all over the world, and it's like for instance football, it's played all over the world, and in all fairness, like how Tempy was saying, that she didn't cover the Korean side of things, which is very high impact style of gaming, I must admit.
They do. The Asians, Koreans and Chinese mostly, but actually all of Asia, not just the regions of it like Korea and China and Taiwan and Thailand, but every player or every team that's from Asia has this one simple rule. Like, they work really, really nice. They will have everything planned for the first 20 minutes of the game. They will have thought of your 5 possible moves where you can go, and they will have counter for every one of those 5s in the first 20 minutes of the game. If you can survive against a Korean or Chinese or Thai or Taiwanese team for the first 20 minutes without giving them such a huge lead, you will beat them, because after 20 minutes of the game, they get lost. I don't know if that changed, because sometimes they have longer games than 20 minutes, but when the opposing team sees that they cannot fight anymore, they surrender out of respect. Because they don't want to prolong the game that's already lost.
True. A very far right way of playing it, because in it, the Korean style gaming, where within the first 5 minutes usually a tower has gone. It's usually let's take it straight down, and they're usually the ones that normally play 2 top 1 bottom to mix everything up, and they play the more wild card tactics and fast pace.
It started that two on one lanes started in Europe, but Europe didn't do it properly. Sometimes they failed. And Koreans saw that, I think, in one of the tournaments that they had, or just from watching LC, or from watching League of Legends or European scene. They saw the tactic and they said, good tactic, let's improve it. And that's why it became a Korean tactic, because Europeans stopped doing it till recently again, and Koreans just improved on it and built it up and became like... So there's 2 possible outcomes when you have a 2v1 lane. Either A, you're going for the early outer turret, or B, you're crippling their solo laner to that extent that he cannot have a huge impact in team fights later on. So you're denying him CS, you're killing him, you're taking him out of the lane as often, but you're mostly freezing the lane and denying him experience and gold, which he needs.
True. But doesn't that leave, just speaking about this tactic before we move on, doesn't that leave the bottom lane where it's the opposite, which is usually the meta? You usually get your support and AD carry bottom lane for both teams. Doesn't that leave the bottom lane at such a high risk of losing out as well? Because if two on the top can freeze that top laner, which
the two on the bottom can freeze that. Yeah, it can. It is a risk. It comes down to what duo lane can do a better job and what their designated target is. It's not always the same for both teams. For example, red team duo will go to the top and they are tasked to deny creeps, deny gold, deny experience from the enemy top laner and keep him at bay, get him out of the lane as much as possible. Try to bring the attention of the jungler there so that their jungler can gank bottom or gank mid while the enemy team's blue team jungler is busy with helping his top laner. For example, blue duo in the same game is tasked to drop that turret as fast as possible to gain that 150 gold advantage.
Yeah.
1,000 gold, basically 1,000 gold advantage.
Which, like I said, in the tactics, as long as it's played well by whichever team initiates the 2v1 anyway, which, can throw... Because it depends as well, just going about the situations, it depends as well how the opposite team react when they see it, because a lot of the time, very early game, the teams shimmy off into the jungle, and you don't see anybody straight away. And then, like, the blue team top laner walks up thinking, I'm going to start CS. Wait a minute, their AD carrying supports up here. What's going on? It must be, depending on the experience and if they've ever met this tactic before, it must be the blue team are there thinking, Christ, how are we going to counter this? Do we bring our top lane and support up, which opens up that bottom lane for the bottom lane on the red team to push? There's so much tactics and adjustments that both teams have to bring together, which makes the game very tactical.
I think it is 60% mind games, 40% skill when it comes to changing a bit of the meta around or a bit of the positioning of your champions and players around.
Fair play. So, like I said, it's all about the tactics. But, like I said, in future podcasts, we'll probably go obviously more into what's happened in the season and break down a couple of things to maybe teach you guys, and obviously me because I'm noob, to teach you guys more about the game. And if you've got any questions about the League of Legends side of things, please, contact us in the usual aspects, let us know, and we will answer them as well. And I'm keep interrupting Tempy's Gamescom review, so yes, carry on.
It's fine.
Where you are, carry on. Meow.
And then the finals that happened, it was a best of 5, so 3 victories needed for the team to win, and that was Fnatic. They won after a grueling 4 games. Lemon Dogs took the third game. It was between Fnatic and Lemon Dogs. First game, wow, brilliant. I cannot remember anymore who played what. I think Xpeka was on Ari.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. Just the sheer movement, the movability. Lemon Dogs did give them a bit of a hard time, but Fnatic definitely pulled through and showed why they're this force to be reckoned with. Their type of playstyle is really, really intriguing to watch. Just as a whole team, not just singular players. Second game, Fnatic won again. They had a very huge gold lead because they took a lot of dragons. They took Baron. They forced Lemon Dogs to chase them around the map. They pushed Lemon Dogs back to their turrets. Lemon Dogs do not know how to deal in that situation when they're the ones that have to do the chase, when they're the ones that they're being pushed. If they get an early game advantage, like they did in the third game, they got the first 2 dragons, they pushed the lanes, they were counter jungling, they were ganking. That Fnatic just kind of slipped like on ice slightly, and they did gain the advantage. They did get back to neutral, But Lemon Dogs said, nope, you're not taking our advantage. We're gonna push on you. We're gonna make plays. You have to react to them. Fnatic unfortunately did lose the third game, which got them into the fourth game, where they did this amazing champion composition that they did, and they just cleared the house. They didn't give an inch to Lemon Dogs. They took the dragons, the barons. The game was really long and really, really nice to watch, and they won. So they are the first place champions of European LCS Summer Playoffs. Second are Lemon Dogs, third are Gambit Gaming, and all three teams are going to the World Championship that is happening on the September 15th to October 5th, October 4th, in the Los Angeles, in the LA. So the group stages that are happening will be from the September 15th to 17th. And the 19th and 21st. On the September 24th and 23rd and 24th are the best of three in studio quarterfinals. Then on the September 27th to 28th, there are semifinals, best of five in Gallon. And October 5th are the finals, best of five in the Staples Centers, which after only 2 hours of being tickets have been for 2 hours open after the playoffs or during the playoffs have been sold.
That is a pretty impressive statement. Literally from being, oh yeah, the tickets for the final have been released, and 2 hours later, the Staples Centre is massive as well. By the way, it can house, so it's going to be such a massive atmosphere. And I know you were saying that you're going to have to change your sleep pattern to start watching the World Championships a bit to, pick it all out as well.
Yes, so. I will be taking after work. I will be taking a nap so I can be able to wake up on time to watch LCS throughout the evening and then pass out maybe for 2 hours before going to work. Also, the grand prize that the two teams that will be battling it out in the finals is $1 million.
So a prize pot of $1 million now.
No, that's only for the first prize.
Oh, okay.
The whole grand pot is 5 million.
Ooh, so
million goes to the first place, 500,000 to the second, or 250 to the second, and so on.
Yeah, I get it. It's you're breaking down $1 million for first, 500,000 for the second, and 250 for third and fourth, or something like that. Where there's like a bit
I think
of a distinct
until
change.
the sixth place there will be prize.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Money prizes.
What will happen? Obviously, in future podcasts, the next podcast as well. The tournament should be at a close as such, because depending on timing, because I'll be at Eurogamer.
It will probably if we do it near the end of September, we will be covering everything up to semifinals and finals.
So hopefully, depending how it works out, we should have World Championship League of Legends for you. Just to clarify a couple of things before going, the World Championships, is it like you said, there's a wild card that goes into it, there's your LCS top three. How many teams go into the World Championships? Just a question, I didn't actually know how many teams go in. Or aren't you sure?
14.
14? That's
14 teams. 3 from America, 3 from Europe. I think China has 4 because they won the All-Stars. So they gained an extra team.
They gained an extra slot,
2 or 1 from OGN. It's actually 2 from China, 1 from Korea, 1 from Taiwan, I think, or 3 from just Asian area. So Korea and China. 2 from China, 1 from Korea.
So it's
depending on who won OGN.
Yeah, it's a nice split then of the different play styles, and obviously the big regionals put you into seed, so you get you won't get all of Europe playing in the same group. You'll get them playing the Koreans, the Americans all in one group to mash it up a bit, and hopefully fingers crossed as well, we'll have a decent. I would love to see a European team get into the World Championship finals and win.
Last year in season 2 Worlds, EG, Evil Geniuses, who were back then known as CLG EU, got to quarter-finals.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
And then they lost to World Elite. I watched it. I was sick with the flu, but I watched it, and it was frustrating because they didn't have power outage. Because of the millions of viewers watching on Twitch, and not just the English Twitch stream, but also French and German and Korean and Chinese and French. Like so many, they were using 5% of total American broadband. They were crashing their internet on the event because like it was a huge, massive broadband usage, and they were just crashing it because of so many people watching.
That's pretty intense to say. With, like I said, with all the big followers of your separate regions all coming together in one place,
it's massive. Yeah, it's chaotic. Exactly. You see so many different styles, like the American style, the Europe, the Korean. Like, you do not know who will win. You can only hope that your team will make it through to quarterfinals, semifinals, that they will get out of the group stages.
Be interesting. So, are we closing the esports side of things?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
To finish it up, I want to leave a question, right? Because what will happen is it will be an ongoing thing, this esports thing, and next podcast, depending on when we record it, it will be focusing on the World Championships, which is a big thing, League of Legends wise. It's huge. Like I said, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be so much fun, and me and Tempy, I'll try and watch as much of it as possible to bring you decent information and coverage as well. The question is, right, I'm not saying the world teams all together, but the 3 teams that have gone into the World Championships in Europe, right, your Fnatic, your Lemon Dogs
and Gambit, yeah.
Right. Now, if you had to put any money on the European opportunities to get, I'm not saying to win it, but the furthest the European teams can go, what team do you think will stand out the most out of the European qualifiers, in your view?
In my view, I'm Fnatic and Lemon Dogs.
But if you could only pick one?
Fnatic.
Straight away, Fnatic. Now,
and not just because I'm biased, but I've been watching them throughout this entire season 3.
Yeah.
And they had they had ups, they had downs.
Yeah.
But because they're such a diverse team, and like Demon said at the start of season 3 when they were talking about Fnatic and when they were talking about their players,
yeah,
they mentioned Xpeke, and Demon said Xpeke is their clutch player.
Yes, definitely, I do agree with you on that one.
And it just shows, and they bring chaos into the game. They run around everywhere. You will see Soez and Xpeke split pushing top, bringing 3 people to them while the rest of their team is pushing bottom or doing dragon. And I think because they have such an interesting play style, an interesting choice of champions, that they will, I'm hoping they will get to quarterfinals.
So this
highest semis. I would love them
to
see win. I would love to see them win, but being realistic, quarters or semis.
Realistically, that's fair. So this will be an interesting thing to view on. But what we'll do is we'll keep tabs of what we've selected, and for the next podcast, we will, when we bring in the esports again, we will see who chose the right side. Because in all fairness, right, Fnatic are great. Right? I think Fnatic, like Xpeke, he's the Lionel Messi of mid lane. You know what I mean? He is amazing. But like you said, they had their ups and downs through the season, and so did many other teams. I honestly think Gambit Gaming will probably be the first European team out, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, they've got great players, and like I says, Diamond, their jungler, is a god. He's an
I
absolute
agree
god.
with you.
He's an absolute god. And like I
If
said,
it's season 2, if they were like in season 2, I would say, hell no, they're going to quarters.
yes.
But considering their track record of both the first half of season 3 and now the second half of season 3, and how they had more downs than ups, like, yeah, they won the third place to EG, and that's all great, but they weren't performing nicely. Like, that steal that Snoopy did, or actually no, that steal that Lemon Dogs did in the previous games, in one of the games that they had, really got Diamond down. Or was it really Snoopy? I think it was on Saturday, the game that happened that got them to third place. The game that they lost to Lemon Dogs. Like, that steal, Dragon Steal, that they failed, really got Diamond down and demoralized, and he just was lost. He was trying to do something but was failing. So I have to agree with you on this one.
In all fairness, and I'll just quickly wrap this one up with the Gambit bit. In all fairness, I agree with how some of the casters kind of and players kind of portrayed it through the Gamescom, rundowns of teams. Diamond is really their playmaker as such. If Diamond's having a good game, Gambit have a really good game. You know what I mean? Because he gets everywhere. He roams his jungle amazingly. He jumps. His jungling is by far some of the best I've seen when I've watched Gambit in the weeks of LCS that I've actually watched. Diamond seems to run it really well. They've had ups and downs. Like every team will have ups and downs, but Gambit's jungler, if I could pick an all-star team, he'd be the jungler I'd pick straight away anyway, no matter what. Even though, people, probably you, would have a different opinion on that. But,
no, I do
True.
agree with you.
True.
Diamond is the best jungler in Europe.
That's
because of his innovative and the way he kind of works and casts. But I do like Snoopy, don't get me wrong. Snoopy is... he's just a dear.
Here we go. Another thing with these podcasts, we will unravel the unendearing love for Snoopy and Tempy, and I'm sure we will keep a close eye on how it happens. But
At one point I will stop.
You will stop. You'll find somebody else come out. But no, back to the question in hand. Yeah, Gambit I think will be the first people out. It's going to be close because, in my personal opinion, where Lemon Dogs have come in and made such an imprint on the LCS in the time that they've been in, and the story behind them, the background that they've brought in, and how they're this like I was saying earlier, when you think of Season 3 LCS, you think of Lemon Dogs because of where they've come from and then to where they got to. Yeah, okay, Fnatic beat them in that final. But teams lose. You know what I mean? Every team loses, you know what I mean? But in all fairness, I'm going Lemon Dogs. I won't be surprised if Lemon Dogs pull it out the hat. To be honest with you, they're going to be like the big up and down. They could flop their group stage, depending on who they get put with. They could get absolutely annihilated. But I've got this strong feeling that we could be seeing a Lemon Dogs in the top 4, maybe 6 place. That's my thing, over Fnatic. I think, because like you said, with how Fnatic have played, and yeah, they've pulled the socks up and really, really, really came out with at Gamescom, brought back their, as they were putting it there, the Fnatic.
Guns blazing, yeah.
Yeah, Fnatic from the old, the way they were before. They really, like I said, they adapt really well and they changed. That's how Fnatic should play, and they really did that in front of that big crowd. Now, the big difference will be for the Lemon Dogs is if they don't buckle under pressure, they could be a force to be reckoned with. And like you were saying with the Koreans and stuff like that, if Lemon Dogs can hold out over so long, we could be seeing teams, getting toppled by this new coming amateur team that are in the
professional
world.
now.
Well, yeah, professional. Sorry, but they've come up so far, and these big teams from all around the world could end up getting toppled by a team that have come in out of nowhere and shone out a light. So my vote is Lemon Dogs. So in the next podcast, everybody. When we record this, we'll keep a note of this as well. Me and Tempy have decided who we think will be to the furthest point. I'm not saying win the tournament because it could go anyway. Like Tempy was saying earlier, anybody could win that championship. It's like a total different kettle of fish. New experience. It's a higher stage, bigger stage. It's like the glitz and glamour of esports. So they're going to be our choices. So right, we will round up. Are you happy with rounding it up? The whole esports side of things. Are you cool?
Yep. We can wrap it up. We can wrap it up.
We can wrap it up. Apart from the undoubted love for Snoopy, you know what I mean? He's cute, really, and he's got a Scottish accent, blah, blah, blah.
No. I will never leave that down.
You won't leave that down.
Anywho's, for your next segment of esports, watch the next podcast where I'll gloat at how far Fnatic had come.
Fair news. That's the promise there, so we'll keep that in mind. So, wrapping up the esports section, in future podcasts as well, with me and Tempy, hopefully we'll have regular guests, whether it be close friends of us, people that we work with, like say we've got in line some of the lads from Game for Life, YouTubers, esports managers and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot in line that'll be interesting views and stuff as well. So we'll have them involved. But the next thing in line is basically you guys. We want to give shout outs. We want to have your questions coming to us, whether it be something random, you know what I mean, something to laugh about and have a joke about. This is the area where we break things down, even if it's something like, Dave, what's your favourite type of cheese? Really, you're not going to ask me that question, but, you know what I mean, I can't think off the top of my head at this moment in time. You will ask us these questions and we will answer them, plus shout-outs. And in all fairness, we're going to call this our shout-out section. In all fairness, with this being our second birthday, a massive launch of our podcast, you know, the involvement and development of everything Game for Life wise, incorporating all sorts of different things, having Tempy on the crew, people coming and going. I mean, there's been so much in a short space of 2 years, right? I would like to put out this shout out to a lot of you guys out there that have followed us, that have commented on our posts. Like Tempy was saying earlier, the community is fantastic. If it weren't for you guys, it won't be anywhere. You know what I mean? We'd be dead in the water kind of thing. We bring all this cool content, these funny little quirks, these great videos, these cool, you know, with me and Tempy working with Sense of Gaming, we bring you these other opportunities to enhance your gaming knowledge and the whole world of gaming as well, because I know a lot of people that weren't bothered about shoutcasting, and all of a sudden we were like, you know, watch us, we're commentating on EGL kind of thing, and people jumped over and watched us, like, you know, regulars that follow us are now following them, and it envelops the community. So a massive shout out to all you followers. Definitely it's a big thing for us, especially me, because 2 years ago I set out this page as a bit of a laugh. You know what I mean? I never thought I'd ever meet great people like Tempy and, you know, other cool people I've come across in the line, and the friendships I've made, the networking that I've done. And without you guys, it wouldn't have been this way. So yeah, my shout out to you guys, and just a few other people I'd like to mention. A shout out to JD Mulletman. You know what I mean? He's just nothing but praise out of him for us. You know, he sees some great things with us, and he's a sound guy. You should check him out. He's a fantastic guy. Thunderford, unfortunately, he doesn't do many videos no more, but you know what I mean, great guy. You know, he was always backing us up and helping us out. The pages out there like the Xbox Live Gamer Hub, Gav from Gamer Hub, you're an absolute star. You know what I mean, you've helped me out in so many ways, and the advice you give me is great. Shout out to all my team, Tempy, Warren, you know what I mean, all the guys that you might not even see, that all background staff kind of thing, which is really awesome. All the great pages like Ladies to Die For, Gaming Dads, Gaming Mums, you know what I mean, we do this, and this whole close-knit community, whether we're only 200 likes and, you know, a small community to say what we are now, this, you know, 2,000 plus, you know, many stations of ways, a website coming, you know what I mean, it's just amazing to see that. So, like I said, just a massive shout out to everybody. Tempy, have you got any shout outs to friends, family, anyone that you want to mention?
Wow. Censored Gaming for one,
Definitely. Down at Sensor Gaming.
and Zeverat because without him, I probably wouldn't have met you and worked with you and have made this podcast with you. So that's to Zeverat
Definitely.
from Censored Gaming. Sona and Scoundrel, because finally we have a bit of a more competition in the casting staff in Censored Gaming.
Definitely, yeah, we do.
A friendly competition, but still
Great
a competition.
guys,
so they motivate me to be better at what I do.
Great guys, definitely great guys. Any other shout outs that you've got?
Yeah, my friends, my Croatian friends, because without their somewhat reluctant support, I probably would have given up on casting. Doubted, but they're there for me and they kind of push me forward.
So all in all, if it weren't for, these people that we're giving a shout out to now, half of these things would have never happened. Like I said, since the game brought us together, we made some great friends out of it, and it's always good to communicate. So let us know as well, because you'll never know where you'll get without giving a shout out or having a mention, because no matter if you're just a gamer that I just want my name mentioned, I want you guys to give me a shout, or you're a small page, a big website, we will be there to shout, because we all start at the bottom and work our way up, and this first podcast is just like a grain of sand that's going to be just build up to something massive. And I'm so glad you guys have been listening to the first podcast, and like we said, we've wrapped up the shout outs. Like I said, in future episodes, send in your questions. I'll be blagging everybody on Facebook, I'll be blagging everybody on YouTube and everything like that. We'll keep mentioning it. People can send them in anything random, anything gaming wise. It's
be it gaming wise or something that you want to know about Davie and myself, because we will be the constant hosts here.
Yeah.
Just ask them. You already know where to plug it in. I think I've mentioned it in so many vlogs so far that I myself am being bored by it.
But yes, that's the nice thing to say about it. So
also, since since Davie mentioned we will be having guests, and before the guests show up, please leave a questions for them. We will give you plenty of time, plenty of heads up about who the guest will be.
Yeah.
So you know what type of a question to ask. So that we can we want you guys to interact with us.
Definitely, because we'll be having excuse me about that. We'll be having interviews with them, and we will be getting them involved in discussions like we have been doing in this podcast today. And whether it be a YouTuber, a esports director, or just a member of a gaming community, if we, like I said, we will give you a good chunk of time to get prepped, and just send in anything random. Like, for instance, one of the main questions that I always keep bringing up to throw people is, if you were a Pokemon, who would you be and why? And some of the reactions I get is like, I don't do a Pokemon. You know what I mean? It's just so funny. So anything like that, we want to have it. So yeah, and like I said, the first guests that will come in, we will let you know in plenty of time through our Facebook, YouTube, and all that lot. What's happening, it will be there. So yeah, it's been an interesting first podcast.
It has. I really enjoyed it. I think we covered more or less everything.
To be honest, yeah, we've got that framework down to a T now. So yeah, let us know what you think about it, though, people. You know what I mean? If we can improve it, what else?
Constructive criticism is always good criticism. Just remember to word it properly.
Yes, not like me that can't spell. But yes, let's just wrap this up then. We've done really well, covered everything. The last thing is, like we said before, we'll try and lead on to the next podcast with some information and stuff that's going to happen. So for the next podcast, which will appear early October-ish, give or take, depending on what's what, it will be like a Eurogamer special. Me and a few of the lads from Game for Life are going to London. Hell yeah, it's going to be an absolute riot. We're going to go play on the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4. We're going to try out the new games, meet some cool people, take loads of cool photos. That'll be splashed everywhere, and just some amazing stuff. Also, like we were saying before, the World Championships for the League of Legends will be on, so me and Tempy will read up on and catch up on all the cool stuff there, so we can break it all down. Hopefully we'll have our first guest in on the podcast. I've got loads in the pot, but I'm going to leave it for a while to pick one out before anything gets said. So let's just keep your ears out for that one. And other than that, we will just bring you the main topics of gaming news for the next podcast. So
Indeed.
I'd say that's about it for this one. So
Yep. So we'll see you guys later. Do remember to leave your questions, be it for our guests when we do announce them, or for Davie and myself. This weekend, Davie and I are working on the Censored Gaming Tournament.
yeah,
We forgot to say that, so check that out. We will be posting links everywhere.
Funny thing is, I don't think Tempy realised this actually. When this actually comes live, it will be in the Censored Gaming
We'll
Tournament
have
weekend.
a tournament still. We'll have a tournament.
Yeah, we'll be there. So if you listen to
It will
this
be a
on...
Censored Gaming Tournament because Dan Zeveret says it will be on a weekly basis, weekend to weekend.
True. So yeah, check us out on there as well. But
I am not mistaken. There will be a tournament happening.
Okay. But yes, if you listen to this on the 1st of September, our birthday, we will be doing commentating that weekend as well. So please feel free to check us out. And yeah, we will keep you up to date with what's going on and everything else. So I'd say it's time to say our goodbyes for this first episode. So it's a happy birthday celebrations. We're 2 years old. I'm going to get drunk now, so there you go. You know what I mean? I'm 2 years old and I'm getting drunk, so meow. Meow, meow, meow.
Meow.
We got meow much. Meow, meow, meow. But...
So yeah, happy birthday to Gamer for Life. Have a great second birthday.
Yay.
And I think this is time for us to sign off. So I am Tempy, and...
see, it all goes to pot when we wrap everything up. But now, yeah, Tempy, DJ, it's been a pleasure talking to you about stuff, fruit gaming thing. Hopefully you'll be in the next episode listening to stuff, get involved, and we will see you then. Have a very, very good day. Bye.
Bye.